My name is Glenn Burden. I am the building supervisor for First Class Window Cleaning. We're actually a very small company compared to some of the others that are up there. There's quite a few window cleaning companies. Competition is very, very high in Indianapolis.
My name is Brian Barringer, and I've been at First Class Window Cleaning for about 2 months. Some of the things I like about high rises is being outside and getting to see the heights and seeing the different scenery. It's a great job to have.
We're good, man.
The first thing we do is we'll sit down, we'll talk for a minute, all me and my guys, and then we'll go up onto the roof and we'll set up our equipment. Getting it up there is kind of hard. Cleaning the windows, there's nothing to it. The hardest thing about the job is just having to push the rig, having to push the equipment around on the roof. We use several different tools. Of course, we have a bucket that's got water in it, but we use what we call a wand, which is basically, it's a tool that we use to scrub the window off, to wash it off, and then we use a squeegee. We use several different sizes. We use what is called a fitch rig, and what it does is it's a counterweight system. We put counterweights on the back of it and we hook our ropes to that, and then we tie a safety back to an anchor on the building, on the roof, and we actually run our ropes off the top of that rig, and that's what we actually do the hanging from. We use what they call a Bolson chair to set in, and then we have a descender, which is, we call them a rack, which our ropes feed through, and that's what we use to descend down to the buildings. And we also use a set harness, and then we have a safety that comes off of that, which is a i.u.p.u.i, and that goes to a separate rope in case something was to happen, we were to fall, that'll catch us.
This is the safety that I use all the time. It's got a D-ring on one end and a D-ring on another, and that D-ring is attached to a i.u.p.u.i, which is this right here. Basically what the i.u.p.u.i does is it hooks to our safety line, just like this, right here. And what that is if we were to fall, we can move this down by moving this clip right here. But if we were to fall and we let off that clip, that will not move. It can go up all at once, but it cannot move down without releasing the clip.
We're in constant communication with the person standing up on the roof. You can get a good rhythm going if you have somebody that's the same speed working on the same wall with you.
It's taken me longer than I expected to learn the pole work. And when it comes to drop work, I learned pretty well, but the pole work, it's a lot harder, especially when it gets higher up and using more pieces of the pole. The weight of the pole and how it bends and the wind blowing. It's actually pretty challenging once you first start trying to do it. And so far I have not been able to master the pole work.
We can try to push each other, and when I say push each other, I mean I'm fast. I can clean windows pretty quick. If we'll put one of the slower guys over with us, what that does is that makes them want to try and keep up.
When you hang up inside a building, there's challenges we face every day. You know, whether or not it's going to rain, how hard the wind's blowing. If the wind's blowing too hard, you can blow the water back on the stuff you already did.
When it's cold, it slows you down. It's usually colder on the roof than it is when you're hanging in front of the glass because you're out of the wind. The wind's not blowing right on you. If it's raining, I can't really wash any windows. Snow we can deal with. If it gets real cold, the problem that we have is the windows want to freeze up. The water will freeze on the glass. So we have to use some stuff called methanol in our water, which is kind of it's a chemical that keeps the water from freezing up. I've been hanging from the side of the building before and have my bucket on the side of my chair and icicles hanging off the bottom of the bucket, and ice form your pant leg will freeze up, it'll turn to a solid piece of ice. The worst part of it on your body is probably your shoulders. Hurts your back some, but the window cleaning is easy. There's several potential dangers. I mean, of course, you can get too close to the edge. Some buildings don't have what they call a parapet wall. If you got too close to that and you slipped, you could potentially fall off the roof. But the main one is falling. That's the main thing that we watch out for.
you gotta learn to trust those guys that you're with, knowing that nothing's gonna happen to you or to them. And being around each other as much as we are, you get to know each other a little bit better, and you're more comfortable around each other.
Most mistakes happen because of human error. I had been hanging from the front of a building and I was doing straight drops. I went into the restroom. Come out of the restroom and I seen somebody standing on the ladder. It was a nurse. So I went outside and I said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "I think one of your men just fell off the roof." And the only thing I was thinking was my brother-in-law fell off the roof and he's not alive, because we were 6 stories in the air. And the only thing I could think was, you fall from 6 stories up and you land on a roof, it's going to kill you. Well, what happened was what I was talking about earlier with human error. They had been working together, the 2 brothers, and one of them was tying the rig back. Well, they didn't hook up the rope to the back of the rig yet, and he hadn't put his counterweights on. He reached around, hooked up to the ropes, and when he did, he went over the building, and the rig and everything come over with him. Fortunately, he lived, but he doesn't clean windows anymore.
Before window cleaning, I was working in a factory on 3rd shift, and I was looking for something else. You get to do something you want to do on your own hours. And I immediately took the opportunity to talk to his boss, and she gave me a chance.
What I really like about this job is the fact that I can walk outside of the building that I've just been working on, and I can look up at the windows and I can see that I've done something. Whereas some jobs, it's just a routine. You go in, you do your work every day, day in, day out, and you really can't see, you can't go out and look at what you've done and see that you've done something.